Good afternoon. We begin with breaking news at noon. Honolulu police are searching for the suspect in a deadly shooting near Pearlridge Center. The family of the victim says the woman in her 30s was killed by her husband. Now, it happened just after 10 this morning. Palimomi Medical Center remains on lockdown as a precaution. We want to send it over to Annalisa Burgos, who's live at the scene. Annalisa, you spoke with the mother of the victim. What can you tell us?
Such a tragedy, Ashley. I'm here at Pearlridge Mall, just outside of Bank of Hawaii, where the shooting occurred. Apparently, it was a domestic abuse, a domestic incident between the husband and wife. And the real sad part of it is that their daughter witnessed the whole thing, and she's only about 10. And again, the family I spoke to, the mom and the daughter, and they are just traumatized and can't believe that this happened 3 days before Christmas. And just a little bit of backstory for you. What they did tell me is that they had been going through domestic issues. The wife had filed for a TRO, had requested TRO, and they had been going through custody battles in court. As recently as yesterday, there was a hearing, according to court documents. I'm going to step aside, actually, to let you guys see, because the family is still on the scene right now. She didn't want to speak on camera, so I spoke to her off camera, and she told me about what had been going on for months with the family. So again, the family members are still standing there by the wall as police continue their investigation here at the Bank of Hawaii. As a precaution, the bank and the Palimomi Hospital are still under lockdown. They are, at the time of us talking to the family, they were still looking for the suspect, the husband, Jason Cachuela, and the victim, Teresa Cachuela, 33 years old, social media influencer. Her daughter just devastated, telling me that how can she live without her mom, and seeing her mom get shot in the head. I mean, I have to tell you guys, that's what she said and she saw. And the mom was telling me, the victim's mom. Sorry, I'm a little bit kind of upset just because speaking to them, I mean, just happening right before Christmas, and them knowing that the husband did have a lot of mental issues, according to them, that he had threatened to commit suicide. He actually threatened to commit suicide today, and which is why he confronted the wife here. And again, the circumstances around the shooting is all hearsay, but the mom believes it's around that situation where he just couldn't let her go. And they were going through this rough patch in their marriage, just having celebrated their anniversary last month. Again, we're waiting on details on whether the suspect has been found. All we know is that there was a vehicle left here, but at this point in time, not no one has been telling us whether they found him or not. So I'll send it back to you if you have any more questions, Ashley, about what happened. But again, such a tragic ending to this. And the mom really upset because she said this is something that she has been dealing with, the victim of domestic violence and abuse, and trying to get help for their family and not really having a way to get through it and having it end like this. Ash.
Right, Annalisa Burgos reporting from Pearlridge Center. Thank you, Annalisa. We now want to get to some other headlines from Hawaii right now. We have new video at noon of the suspects accused of fatally shooting a driver in Mililani last week. Police arrested Clinton Ka'aiali'i and Michael Caspino for murder, saying the shooting was not a random act. Authorities identified the victim as 37-year-old Barabbas Dietrich. Honolulu police say Dietrich was driving a vehicle on Kamehameha Highway just after midnight last Thursday when a silver Ford traveling behind him sped up and cut in front of him. That's when two suspects allegedly got out of the Ford and approached Dietrich's car, both armed with handguns. When Dietrich tried to drive off, Caspino allegedly opened fire and the victim was shot. The suspects fled the scene but were arrested Tuesday. Authorities have not released a motive. An investigation is ongoing. On the Big Island, a Muay Thai coach is now in custody, accused of sexually assaulting one of his underage athletes. Prosecutors say 43-year-old Brian Flores abused the victim, a girl under 16 years old, from 2019 to 2022. He's now indicted on 12 charges, 5 of which carry a 20-year prison sentence. If Flores posts his $370,000 bail, he is ordered to stay at least 100 yards away from the victim and her family. Flores is due back in court for his initial appearance. Red Hill water issues may be far from over. A report released this week by the Environmental Protection Agency seemingly discovered further contamination. The Honolulu Civil Beat is reporting that residents have been complaining for months, and now the EPA has tested 4 homes. 3 of those appeared to demonstrate the presence of petroleum hydrocarbons. Officials believe the contamination may be in the Navy water distribution system or within the plumbing of Pearl Harbor homes. The EPA advised the Navy to provide alternative water to any residents who complain about their water quality. The Navy has already launched an investigation into residents' plumbing. You can find the full report on civilbeat.org. The town-bound lanes of the Pali Highway will remain closed through the weekend. Crews are still cutting trees along the slope undercut by the landslide, and they removed more than 15 truckloads of debris. A drainage ditch located behind the slope seems to be the problem.
We have a 8-foot wide by 6-foot deep drain behind this slope here that actually performed really well. But what we saw is some of the water was redirected along the slope. We're trying to find the cause of that redirection to make sure that water is all directed back into the slope itself.
Drivers should use Like Highway or the H3 freeway. There's word today that one of the dual U.S.-Israeli citizens believed to be taken hostage in Gaza on October 7th is dead. Now, the news comes as the UN Security Council has passed a heavily negotiated resolution on humanitarian aid to Gaza. Willie James Inman has the latest.
The Nir Oz kibbutz has confirmed Gadi Haggai was killed by Hamas gunmen on October the 7th, and that his remains have been held in Gaza ever since. The 73-year-old and his wife Judy, both dual American-Israeli citizens, were last heard from the day of the attack. Judy is thought to still be among the captives.
Those in favor of the draft resolution.
The news comes the same day the United Nations Security Council passed a resolution on desperately needed humanitarian aid to Gaza, creating a pathway to expedite food, water, and fuel to Palestinian civilians living in the war-torn territory.
This was tough, but we got there.
The resolution also demands the immediate and unconditional release of hostages, but it does not call for a pause in the fighting or a ceasefire, earning the support of the United States, which abstained, allowing the vote to pass.
It took many days and many long nights of negotiating to get this right. But today, this council provided a glimmer of hope amongst a sea of unimaginable suffering.
The State Department tells CBS News that Secretary Antony Blinken was personally involved in negotiations on a resolution that the U.S. would not veto, making calls to counterparts around the world to move the process forward. The vote comes a day after a report by the United Nations and other agencies found that 500,000 people in Gaza are starving. That's 1/4 of the population. Willie James Inman, CBS News, Washington.
A Lahaina family displaced by the August fires has moved into a home on a one-year lease as part of an effort to get more evacuees into long-term housing. Now, many praise this as a step forward, but critics say the steps need to come faster. Ben Gutierrez has more.
The Council for Native Hawaiian Advancement helped in securing the one-year lease and says it is working on more leases to other short-term rentals as the effort continues to house more than 6,000 individuals displaced by the fires. This is the Kihei short-term rental where a Lahaina family will spend the next year. It even has a Christmas tree with presents, giving it a homey feeling for the holidays. Cheryl King is the property owner.
Such a difficult time for people, holiday season, to be out of a home. I just can't even imagine, but just, they have pets, which is one of the things we were hoping for because we are animal people, want to help all the animals out there too.
The CNHA says there are more than 6,200 fire survivors who still need long-term housing. To answer that call, it has launched a new website, helpingmaui.org.
It's designed so that homeowners that may want to offer their rental units can apply to make it available. It's also for survivors to sign up to get matched with one of these rental properties.
What do we want? Housing!
Lahaina Strong, which has been camped on the beaches of Ka'anapali demanding long-term housing solutions, says short-term rental owners are trying to step up.
They're willing, they don't know where to go for the information. So this is a great thing that we can just be like, hey, go over to this site and they can go from there,
So far, the council has housed 528 survivors, but thousands remain in non-congregant shelters through the American Red Cross. Lahaina Strong says some families have moved as many as 8 times since the fires, and now stress is higher than ever during the holidays.
They can't put up a Christmas tree. They're not able to have a normal holiday at all, and it's really heartbreaking.
On December 27th, dozens of survivors are said to be relocated from hotels and non-group shelters. Some activists claim this will put families on the streets, but the American Red Cross says that's not true.
So in this case, we are working really hard with our partners to get new solutions for them to go into, and we're very confident that by the 27th, this population of folks will be able to be connected with resources.
The Red Cross says right now there are less than 10 cases where they could not verify survivors who lived in the burn zone. So although they will not be eligible for non-group housing, they can still be placed in a new shelter accommodation. But the need for long-term housing is still critical.
We are making strides now. We're almost 5 months in. It's going to be 6 months soon. We gotta move faster.
Again, that website is helpingmaui.org. We have a link on our website. Ben Gutierrez, Hawaii News Now.
Nightly work has begun at the wildfire debris dump site in Olowalu. Trucks are hauling rolls of plastic liner to the site, which will hold burned vehicles, ash, contaminated soil, and other materials. The county is issuing a noise warning as crews will be welding the liner together every night from 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. through January 11th. They'll be off on Christmas. Olowalu is a temporary site for the debris. The county is still working on a permanent location. Maui survivors are transforming debris left by the fires into heartfelt holiday decorations. Among the ash on Ainakea Road in Lahaina, the Clayton family has turned bits and pieces of their former home into Christmas tree ornaments. The keepsakes include burnt car keys, scissors, and metal butterflies. The Claytons, who now live in Haiku, say repairing the mementos gives them gratitude for the blessings they still have in the wake of the disaster.
They had the idea from finding the actual ornaments, and then it created the idea to turn other items they found from the remnants into ornaments, since they hadn't really known what to do with it in order to have that memory. And they also wanted to just save as much as possible and just upcycle something that would have, they would have probably thrown away, but can be just a special memory to them now.
To donate directly to families like the Claytons, head to helpmauirise.org. GoFundMe has also compiled a list of donation drives. For links, head to hawaiinewsnow.com.
All right, lots of sports happened during this week and coming up on the weekend. Here to break it all down is Kyle Chinen.
What's up, man?
Kyle, lots of topics to talk about.
Yep.
Let's start with the Diamond Head Classic, though. That started yesterday, right?
Diamond Head Classic tipped off actually yesterday over at the LongTerm Center. Hawaii, one of the main teams, the host, really. They got some of the teams in there. We have TCU, Nevada, Old Dominion, Temple, Portland, Georgia Tech, and UMass. Those are the teams in there. UH opened the tournament against Portland. They get the win 69-56, so they move on into the championship bracket, into the semifinals. They're set to take on Georgia Tech tonight at 6 p.m. over at the stand. So Hawaii, only a 2-loss team right now. They're chugging along. They're looking good, and they might actually end up seeing Nevada again, a team that they just lost to the weekend prior before the Diamond Head Classic. So it's going to be exciting.
Yeah, I was just going to say a little bit of revenge for UH against Nevada.
Hopefully.
Are we going to see that?
We might. They need to get past Georgia Tech first, who just had a close game against UMass 73-7 last night to get into the semifinals. So, I mean, not as big of names as you'd think for college basketball, but these are still really good teams and playing at a very high level right now.
Speaking of really good teams, we're going to move to football. The Hawaii Bowl is this weekend. Very exciting. UH is not in it, but there is a little Hawaii connection.
Yeah, we got the Hawaii Bowl between Coastal Carolina and San Jose State. Obviously, San Jose State, lots of Hawaii connections there. The obvious one is Chevin Cordero, their quarterback. He is a former St. Louis and UH standout before transferring to San Jose. He's looking to close out his college football career, kind of full circle moment back where it all started. So going to be an exciting one, and then they got to take on the Chanticleers on Saturday.
Early signing day was this week, and UH signed 14 recruits. Kyle, they got some big names.
Yeah, solid group. 14 guys on early signing day on Wednesday. The headliner really was Bishop Gorman, quarterback over in Las Vegas. Micah Alejado, the lefty, is the Max Preps National Player of the Year. He is a national champion. He led the Gales in Las Vegas to 3 consecutive state championships. So he is a baller, and he has ties here. He was born in Eva Beach, moved to Vegas in middle school, and he's ready because, the quarterback position is kind of wide open at UH. So hopefully he is looking to take that spot and kind of make an immediate impact coming into Manoa.
Yeah, and that's going to be the impact that they need. They have the offensive weapons and wide receivers, but without Brayden Shager, there's been a lot of question marks, and him signing kind of answers a lot of questions about that quarterback spot.
Yeah, it gives fans a little bit of hope. Obviously, he has to come in and work for it. There are still guys in that room, but it's going to create an interesting battle, and especially it seems like Timmy got his guy in this recruiting class, someone that probably his biggest signing to date, so that's good, and it'll just create a lot of competition going into spring ball. I know Micah will be here come spring ball. He's graduating high school early.
Wow, well, very exciting. Lots of sports news going on. Make sure to look for Kyle's latest reports. Kyle, thanks for joining.
Thanks, Davis.
Thank you, boys. Here's a live look outside at Hilo Bay. We're going to have a look at your local forecast after this quick break.
Wet and breezy conditions will continue today, mostly over the windward Mountain showers sections, with showers drifting leeward at times. The winds will trend lighter once we get to Sunday and Monday. More details on that in a moment. Small craft advisories in effect for the waters. That's going to be for the leeward side of Maui and Hawaii Island, and also those southeastern facing shorelines. Series of swells in the next 7 days. Next Tuesday could be warning level waves. That'll make the big wave surfers happy over on the North Shore. North Shore, by the way, today 10 to 14 feet and holding, 8 to 12 feet. We do have a smaller swell that is peaking today. As far as your forecast for today goes, we're going to see mostly cloudy skies. We will see some showers, easterly winds 15 to 25 miles per hour. As we take a look at the 7-day forecast, that's what we've got for today. Tomorrow's a transition weather day as we get a little bit more drier and the winds kind of calm down a little bit. They'll only be 5 to 15 miles per hour. This will be nice conditions for your Christmas holiday, Christmas Eve and Christmas Day. Once we get past that, then we get to some short periods where we do have a cold front that'll come through. So the winds will come up to 10 to 15 miles per hour plus 15 to 20 miles per hour as we push on through next week before we get to New Year's. Get the latest on air online on your mobile device and at HawaiiNewsNow.com. Back to more with This Is Now.
Winter weather is colliding with the busy holiday travel period. Mike Valerio tells us what the FAA is doing with military airspace to make flying a little easier.
I got a 9-year-old who's freaking out. It's like, what if we have to leave? It's just like, I'll carry you on my back. So that's what I do.
Maine's Androscoggin River raging. From above, a spectacular sight, but on the ground across the state. Alarms in Augusta on Tuesday. The Kennebec River, one of many scenes where roads were impassable, and that continued on Wednesday with water rescues in Casco. This heading into a weekend when many would forge ahead with Christmas travel, some families instead continuing to dry out from earlier in the week.
Got up at 3:30 and it was about ankle deep in my driveway. Moved the cars up the hill to prevent damage, and now where my driveway is, my landlord has a sedan, and you got about that much as a sedan showing.
Out west, there's the cleanup in California. The water in Santa Barbara just inches from this Ford's headlights.
My car is done. My car in the garage are done. My 2 cars in the driveway, they're totally flooded.
Flood watches in Southern California extending into Friday as Arizona braces for the effects of this same atmospheric river. At Baltimore-Washington International Airport, TSA agents going a cappella. Feliz Navidad, as the FAA is also hoping to make travel a little smoother.
Have a good day.
It's opening military airspace to commercial planes over the holidays, specifically opening 169 new East Coast routes to keep crunch time Christmas air traffic moving smoothly. I'm Mike Valerio reporting.
All right, during the busy holiday season, it's important to find joy in the little things. That's easy to do at a miniature museum in Mason County, Kentucky, where even holiday decorations are smaller than life. Evelyn Schultz has the story.
There are plenty of signs of the season in the historic town of Maysville.
It is a magical place.
But inside the KSB Miniatures collection, you have to look a bit closer.
That's the whole point, is that everything is supposed to be realistic.
That's when you'll notice Kay Browning's renowned gallery of miniatures is all decked out for the holidays.
There was a precious little girl that was in here the other day, and she went to one of the cases. She was only 2.5 years old, and she comes up in front and she goes, and I was going, that's the reaction we want.
3,300 square feet filled with tiny 1/12 scale versions of everyday objects, a jug of eggnog, an open fire, sheet music for a holiday classic.
We have a Christmas village on both of the mantelpieces that actually are lit. And there's, snow on the mantle, so it looks like it's a country village. Just like, we could purchase in a store and put on our own mantle.
Christmas trees go up in many of the small-scale homes, and yes, they light up. One tree even features more than 50 porcelain dolls.
I love setting up the vignettes so that you look at it and you go, what's going on here? And when you look at each piece, then together, it really does tell a story.
That includes stories from Kay's life. Inside this room hang some very special stockings.
There's one for each one of my grandchildren.
Nearby, a nativity scene tells the story of Jesus' birth. In other rooms, a scaled-down Santa Claus drops off itty-bitty gifts, proving joy can arrive in the smallest of packages.
I have my home, which I adore, but I live in every one of these scenes and houses and room boxes. I just love feeling what it would be like to be in that atmosphere.
And we want to leave you with this today. U.S. Marines unloaded a military plane stuffed with over 2,000 Christmas gifts for children on Maui. Volunteers picked up the presents at Kapalua Airport and handed out a little over half of them. You can see those bicycles there, very cool gifts. The rest will be given out through churches and nonprofits over the next few days. Thank you so much for watching This Is Now. We will not be having a show on Christmas Day, so we wish all of you a very Merry Christmas and a Happy Holidays. Be safe and show lots of aloha for each other. Mahalo.